Hey Aries, how's it going? We are here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first cards that we have out are Knight of Wands and Eight of Cups. Two of Swords. Okay, I'm seeing something that looks a bit disjointed to me. Four of Wands came out reversed, and when Four of Wands comes out reversed, I am seeing that in this context as something that feels like out of flow, something that feels like it may not be functioning as best as it could be. It can feel like it's lost its harmonious movement, like something is playing like out of tune or out of key here that is meant to come back together so it can be functioning properly. I do feel like once this is addressed, that things are going to function harmoniously, but this does need to be addressed in order for that to happen, and there's also some type of upkeep that's involved in this as well. So that being said, we're seeing Knight of Wands, and also we are seeing Eight of Cups. The way that Knight of Wands is facing, it's like looking at the Eight of Cups, and I wonder if this is about possibly like going into something, not realizing that it would be something that maybe wouldn't fully be what it is that you want. Another way that this can be read is that in order for you to overcome a situation where where you're not feeling connected, you're gonna have to do something that requires you to take a bit of a chance, or to do something sort of bold here, or to really trust yourself, maybe to be brave with something that needs to be done here. And then we also have Two of Swords and we have Queen of Cups. So this can be something that's not fully yet being seen yet, and it can be something too emotionally that we're trying to make sense of as well. If Knight of Wands were to go into, because it feels like needing to go into and through the Eight of Cups, this can be maybe needing to go into something, say, realize what it is for you, and then that's going to clarify really how it is that you feel. But I almost get the sense for some of you, like, you may possibly go in the direction of the Eight of Cups, which if you're going in the direction of the Eight of Cups, you can go into something that actually doesn't work, only to realize exactly that. But Knight of Wands can be something where we feel excited. And so without like thinking about this fully, or without maybe knowing or assessing conclusively how we feel about something, going into it, and like you're gonna end up finding out either way, whether you think about this before and conclude it, or you want to go in there and then make your conclusion from there. I do feel like something important is going to be clarified. So I feel like this is kind of like, you can do it like this, you can do it like that, but you're going to come to the same conclusion anyway. So you can kind of do it however it is that you want to. It feels like the difference between being able to observe something and discern it without having to go in there and experience it, like inside of it, versus saying like, whatever, I'll just go in there and figure it out then, and then you're going to get in there and you're going to come to the same conclusion anyway. So it feels like that's just about preference. This is definitely going to clarify something for you about how it is that you are feeling. And I feel too like this is going to allow things, once this falls into place and once this is concluded, you are going to feel like something is resolved and things can function again the way that they need to. maybe you feel like you need to go back into something in order to feel like absolutely sure. But it feels like the kind of sure that's connected with, yep, no, this isn't for me. It feels like one of those to me a bit here, where maybe you're looking at it and you're like, you like kind of know, but maybe you feel like you need to like be in there to really assess that, and then that's going to help you see, like, without any type of debate, that that's really the conclusion. Which is also fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the way that you want to do this. Because I do feel like there's for some reason that's not totally seen when we have that Two of Swords and Queen of Cups. It's like not, that doesn't feel absolutely decided upon. Even though I'm seeing an Eight of Cups here, there can be something that you feel like maybe it's not the Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups means that you don't feel fulfilled with something. You feel disconnected from it. It just doesn't feel like the thing for you. But there's like for some reason, like not totally seeing that. And I do feel like it's because of something that is being worked out. Hold on, let me just tune into this. I feel like there's some type of disconnect, but not disconnect in a, it's not like a bad thing that there's a disconnect here. It feels kind of like something has split the vision. And so you can feel kind of undecided, or you can feel like you're not totally fully seeing something. And in order for this to be rectified, you can feel like you need to go in there and sort of experience in order for this to be made clear. And then you can know what to do from there. Because it feels like a matter of harmony versus maybe something more chaotic that you have going on. And this needing to be rectified. When this is resolved, you will feel like things are moving in a harmonious way, like there is a flow, like there is a stability there. So it feels like this is going to help you problem solve that. There can also be some tension too. For those of you that this is a relationship, let's see what is blocking. Maybe you're trying to decide whether you want to stay doing something or not, or stay participating in something or not, or stay somewhere or not stay there. I am seeing the Devil come out to clarify the Two of Swords. It kind of feels like something's actually like broken, like it's not functioning, like it's not something that... When we have Eight of Cups, it's a matter of when I am connecting with this or attempting to connect with this, is there a sense of peace within that? Is there a sense of fulfillment within that? Am I getting my needs met in connecting with this? Is this even compatible emotionally for me? Is this compatible spiritually for me? So there's that type of process that we have that's coming up here. Now, this feels like not being able to see that. Like, am I happy here or not? Am I satisfied with this or not? Am I connected with this or not? Feeling like, why can't I see? Why can't I see? That Two of Swords feels like the thing that is keeping one from seeing. But what is the catalyst for the Two of Swords? Seeing the Devil come out. What can be going on here is that you may be having a hard time actually seeing a situation for what it is. And this feeling of maybe it's good, maybe it's not, maybe I like this, maybe I don't, maybe I belong here, maybe I don't. What's blocking you from seeing that as like a clarified yes or no is the Devil. Now, what that means, how to apply that in this context, means that you're not just seeing this situation for what it is and then assessing it from there. This feels like you can be projecting some, like, I want it to be like this, or I want it to be like that, or if it would work like this, then that would be okay. It feels like that stuff is getting in the way of you actually seeing how it is. And so it can sort of be manipulating your vision here. Because this can be like an attachment to the way that we want something to be versus how it actually is. Like, I want this to work. I want to feel fulfilled within this. And having that strong of a desire can sort of overtake the fact that it may not be. And it feels actually like that's what's getting in the way of seeing. And working with that part of yourself. The part of yourself that can, like, very passionately, like, fervently want something. I want it to be this way. I want it to be this way. I want this to work. And feeling like that sort of overtakes, feeling like that overwhelms the ability to discern the truth, to discern accurately the reality of what this is, of what's in actuality going on. Keep in mind too, the devil can be illusion. The devil can be the lies that we tell ourselves, all coming back to wanting something to be a certain way. The actual situation that's happening is different than that, and then having a hard time accepting that, and then being like, I'm kind of confused, I don't really know. Because it can be difficult to admit it. When you know that something's not working anymore, then there's a part of you that's like, I don't want that to be because of this reason, and I don't want that to be because of that reason. It can be stuff that sort of keeps you on hold and keeps you within that. Because you're like, I still didn't get it yet. I still don't see it yet. I still don't see it yet. But I think that this comes to a place of, like, not wanting to. Like, you may not really want to see the truth here. And that can be why this is still going on. And it does feel like a bit of a disconnect here. It feels like something has sort of unraveled and it's not really functioning harmoniously. It's not really like a well-oiled machine. It kind of feels like some stuff is loose and sort of pieces are falling apart, and then being like, I know that that's kind of an issue, but how do I get it to work again? And it feels like needing to, if you're looking at something the way that you want to see it and that's not aligned with the reality, which that's what's happening in this situation, because of having a hard time sort of coming to terms with this, you can go in there and fix this and fix that and fix this over here. But if you're not seeing what's actually wrong, if you're not seeing the actual problem, you doing all that stuff isn't going to do anything. You have to, like, actually see something in order to be able to do something effective to it. So it feels like the like attempting to problem solve is kind of like lost on this, because not all of the facts are here. And that's what's sort of getting in the way of, I think, seeing this more conclusively. I think it's getting in the way of allowing you to have emotional clarity about this. And it can be delaying you taking action as well. And it can also be saying, like, you're going to go back into something. Because this Knight of Wands looks like it's going back into the Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is something that you could have already decided didn't work. But then the Knight of Wands is like, I want to, like, go back in there again and make sure that it definitely doesn't work again. But you can feel like you already know the answer to this. But for some of you, you may just want to go back into it. There is no do this, do that. Like, the energy doesn't work like that. Your guides don't communicate with you in this way. It's about what you want to do and what you want to experience. But it feels like what's coming through in the reading is important to know that, like, you're going to come to the same conclusion. It's kind of like unconsciously saying, I don't know the answer, to have that experience again, to then realize, oh, I did know the answer. I knew it all along. But if this is the way that you need to do it, then go for it. There's no problem with you doing that. This is your path. You get to decide how you want to do this. And also know that you're going to come to the same conclusion from what I'm seeing here. But if you feel like you need to go back in to decide that again, and that's going to be the thing that does it for you, that really allows you to see what you need to see here, then by all means. For some of you, though, if you are within this, for those of you that you're already in this situation, for those of you that you're going back into this situation, until you are really ready to see it for what it is, beyond what you want. When you say to yourself, I want the truth above anything, I want to see clearly above anything, you will see this for what it is. And at that point in time, that will be when you feel like your vision is cleared. And then you can move forward from there and feel like there's progress in the steps that you are taking. Until that happens, you can feel like you're running but not really going anywhere. So you can do a bunch of things, but then you can feel like you're sort of standing in the same place as much as you move your legs. Part of the reason why you can be sort of putting this off is what this means and what the implications are of that, if this really is the truth. Like, this can be something that just feels upsetting to digest, and it can be one of those things where you're like, maybe you feel like you're not ready to let go yet. Well, a part of you anyway. It wouldn't be like all of you totally, otherwise we wouldn't be here, this wouldn't come through within the reading. But yeah, there can just be a part of you that's like, this can be a lot to process. And so the part of you that knows that if you had that clarity, you'd have to do something, there can be a part of you that's sort of like holding that off, so nothing has to be done yet. But then you can be like, but I'm doing things, but then again, like, nothing's really happening, and it feels like because of this sort of disconnect here. I wonder too if I conclude what I think I know to be true here, there may be something painful. It feels like there's something painful that has to be faced then. And that can be something that feels like a lot to unpack. That Eight of Cups and that Nine of Swords is, if I don't stay here, if I go somewhere else, what's gonna happen? And there can be like a fear of that unknown, and also a fear of like letting something sort of degrade, like decompose essentially. It is something that feels like it's sort of decomposed already, but you can still be holding on to it psychologically. Like, if you let it go, you know it's going to like return to the earth and change form into something else, but you can be like wanting to keep it, even though it's like not really, even though you can feel like you're not getting sort of what you need from it at the same time, in a way of, I think, like emotional fulfillment. You're not getting what you need from it, but there is still something, by holding on to something, you still are getting something that you need right now, and it can be kind of soothing and it can be kind of comforting. Even if it's coming from a place that like isn't totally the truth for you, at the same time, you can feel like you're putting off having to address something that maybe you're like, I don't know how prepared I feel for that totally. And then also that fear of like what's to come then can also be sort of blocking you from seeing. Can sort of be getting in the way a bit here, like distorting things. So there's this, do I do this? Do I do that? Staying frozen in that space. Being conflict being worked out. There's also a feeling of dispassion for this. Like you can be part of something and you can feel like it doesn't resonate with you deeply, and you can even feel kind of like pushed away from it a bit, but then still keeping it around. But it can have you feeling like overall it impacts the feeling that things are harmonious within the experience of your life currently. For some of you, relationships. And it can be a particular relationship too. It can be an establishment of some sort. It can be like a feeling within the home or a feeling within the relationship. I do feel like this is a turning away from what could be the path now. That the part of you that is the Knight of Wands, that's like, I want something exciting, I want something fun. I feel like all of this stuff has to be worked through in order for you to then be there, like where you want to be. You're gonna move through this and come to a conclusion where you will see things as they are in a way that you really feel like this is the truth. That's going to clarify things emotionally for you, and then it's also going to help you to resolve and problem solve and know how to get things to feel like they are functional, to get things to feel like they are moving harmoniously, so things feel stable, because this feels like it disrupts the stability within your life as well. Maybe just particularly for whatever situation this is for you. Having to face something that feels like a lot to unpack and can just feel generally painful. There can be like a resistance of going in that direction just because of having to face that. The thing is that it feels like it's something that like the only way out is through. And that's where things can be resolved. I'm getting confirmation of this. So this is what has to happen, but when you go that way, things are going to feel like they become crystal clear. And then what you had been feeling like, I don't want to have to go down that path over there, I'll just stay doing this, like this is fine. It feels like you saying, I want to stay in this is fine, even though like something doesn't feel like it's really working, is sort of persuading you to not look at that other path over there, even though once you get on that path over there, you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe I almost like stayed doing this instead of going over here. But it's just because stuff hasn't totally fallen into place, so you get that clear perspective. This feels like there's still a persuasion and still like a bit of dullness, where there's that little bit of disconnect from seeing things how they really are, because of wanting to avoid something painful here. That also doesn't mean too that you're gonna like avoid this forever, but it can be something where there's like conflict that has to be addressed. There's something difficult that has to be addressed, that has to be unpacked, that has to be faced, and it can feel like it carries a burden with it psychologically. And so it feels very natural for you to be like, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, maybe I can put this off a little bit longer. That being more of an unconscious thought. And then from a conscious place, being like, maybe this is okay. Like, maybe I stay here. Maybe this is all right. Maybe this is working. And all from a place of the fear, all from a place of the resistance. From the anxiety of like, what would happen then? If I did this, what would happen then? And also, too, the coming to terms with something phasing out. I also feel like there's one part of you that's like, I want to go this way. And then another part of you that's like, I want to go that way. And it feels like they're sort of bumping into one another. And that, like, when you get the energy purified for both of these archetypes within you, they will be on the same page and they will want to go the same way, rather than going in opposite ways and then feeling like you're sort of frozen there in the middle. Maybe you also have something going on where it's like your idea of what things functioning properly and harmoniously looks like can be a little bit like something is being worked with that too. Like, maybe you think something that is kind of broken, you look at it and you're like, okay, that's all right there. And it has to do with this like current perception. Feels like a relative perception. Like maybe lowering the bar a bit here. And once you move through this, you are going to see that like you didn't need to compromise that low. Like, you didn't need to lower the bar that low. It just meant something wasn't functioning, it wasn't working. Like, it wasn't that your standards were too high or something like that. Because I almost get this like sort of agreeing to something, being like, maybe this is just the best that it can be, and maybe in this situation, sure, but I don't think standardly. But it feels like that's also not totally being seen. It feels like one of those times where when you're not in this situation anymore, you're gonna look back and be like, I wasn't seeing this, I wasn't seeing that, like I can't believe that was my perception. It feels like one of those times, especially too, like we have the devil here. This is like all the stuff that blocks you from seeing things how they really are. You're going to be in that other situation and look back. This is going to look very different to you. And no matter what, it's going to teach you. It will teach you how things sort of get under your skin. It will teach you how things blind you from the truth. It will teach you how the resistance gets in the way of you taking action. How the fear can sort of, or not wanting to face certain things can sort of hold back from embracing the next part of the path. And not in like a direct way. It feels like a very convoluted way where it's like you're really convinced right now that this is like a whole maze. And I do feel again like, and it is relatively, I do feel like when you are in a different place, you're going to look back and it's going to look so very different. Like from the outside looking in, it will look like a very different situation that's playing out. It's like the difference between when you have a tool and you've been using it and using it and using it, and then like something happens and it starts kind of dulling or like falling apart, like you don't really get that charge from it anymore, and you're just like, it happens slowly in a way where it's not just like all of a sudden boom, the thing is broken and you have to replace it. It just feels like a is degrading the right word? That's what's coming through again. It feels like slowly, incrementally, this thing sort of like decomposes a bit. And then you end up in a space where it's not really functional anymore. but that connection to it, and I think also the like, this has worked for me, and sort of keeping it along, and not only for sentimental reasons. That's not the biggest thing here. It just feels like not totally seeing that like it's time to replace this. But then once you do replace it, like once you do step onto the next part of the path, you're gonna look back and say like, wow, I can't believe I was like actually functioning with that or still utilizing that, where now that I'm stepping onto this next part, you like get the thing, that the tool, like you get the new tool, we can say. And when that happens, you look back and you're like, I can't believe I was like I was making things work with it before, when it's like so much easier now that things are functioning properly. In whatever way that this can be applied to your situation. I do feel like this is also kind of blocking you from what you really want too, a bit, where you can be like, no, I want this, I want this, I want this. What I don't actually think that that's fully aligned emotionally, that it feels like something else is going on. Because this Queen of Cups has the Two of Swords next to it. So this feels like the Queen of Cups is coming through and saying, hey, something's wrong here, but then sort of like muting that and being like, I don't want to hear that right now, and still like moving around doing this. When the Queen of Cups is the part of you that's like very intuitively connected, saying, hey, something's going on here. Can't you feel that? Can't you feel the tension? It's motivating you to change something, to do something, to take action here. But it feels like a disconnect between the part of you that takes action and the part of you that's like informing you of what's going on. So they're like not tuned to the same radio station. But once that happens, things are going to move forward, and you will feel like these aspects of you are all on the same page, and then things move from there. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.